That's a good one. Great. So, I'll begin simply. Whoever here likes herd mentality or preaches it, please don't raise your hands. Don't raise your hands if you like herd mentality. If you like herd mentality, don't. And exactly, I just saw one hand go up, some two over there, and everyone else was just looking around at each other to see that, are we going to raise our hands? Are we not? Okay, fine. That myself, I have understood it as herd mentality. You copy each other, you make an imitation game because it feels comfortable. You wear the same clothes because it's trendy, you use the same slangs, same phrases, and you do everything the same. But in that process, you don't become yourself. You don't become someone real. To become someone real is actually quite a simple process. You have to think for yourself. And to do so, you have to first understand how you are living. Because if you realize it or not, you are actually following a philosophy or psychology already. And today I'll be explaining to you the 5 major philosophies and doctrines of life, starting with the most inherited one, starting with the one which many follow. And that, my friends, is hedonism. It's a big word, so please pay attention, yeah? Hedonism has a very simple claim. Pleasure is the only true good, and pain is the only true evil. Pleasure good, evil bad. Pain bad, right? So through this there are 2 major forms. First, psychological, and second, ethical. We'll break this down very simply. Starting with psychological hedonism. It says that your brain is wired to seek pleasure and to avoid discomfort. For example, as soon as you get bored, you hold your phone and start scrolling. You stop to study whenever you get uncomfortable. You smile after receiving a compliment. Your brain is seeking reward in every single thing it does, every small little choice you make. And this, my friends, is what we refer to as the human layer of impulse, your instincts, or what you might refer to as gut feeling. Now, let's go to ethical hedonism. Ethical hedonism says that you ought to pursue pleasure, for it is the only thing which will make your life valuable. You actually have to go in your life and think that, you know what, I'm going to build a life which is going to maximize my happiness. Yay! But the thing is, my friends, that particular type of thinking really doesn't work when you face a major flaw. A major flaw, and that is what happens to you when your life starts to become a bit downtrodden. You fail an exam, you face some type of rejection, or you go with something which really doesn't feel that great. Does your life become worthless? Like, come on, after Virat Kohli loses 2 matches in consecutive, does his greatness just get removed? Is his potential gone? Is it? No, it is not. But it does push us to a darker position of our lives. It pushes us to nihilism. Nihilism refers to when there is no inherent meaning in your life. The universe doesn't owe you a purpose, and there is no great thing or universal rule book written into the universe. You don't have a fixed identity. And my friends, trust me when I say I was in a nihilistic part of my life. You see, nihilism is something which one might see as emotional pessimism, rather a perspective of a heartbroken guy. But really, this type of broken perspective is a philosophical, metaphysical claim. It states that the universe doesn't owe you a purpose. Everything just happened because of a big bang a long, long time ago. Right? Your right and wrongs in your current society are actually just decided by human agreement and not some cosmic fact. And you were definitely not born in a preset role. to do something. My friends, nihilism is something where you create meaning. You construct it. And this constructed meaning leads us to believe that your meaning is not guaranteed. It will not stay permanent. What was allowed in the 1980s will not be allowed now. And this type of meaning is not binding. And hence, instead of collapsing into nothing matters in life, we look for something more stable. And that leads us to Stoicism. Stoicism begins with a disciplined distinction. Everything you are a sole factor to is in your control. And everything else is not. Here's the major point of Stoicism. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Great, thank you. Oh, wow, great. Amazing. I was wondering, that was a great class. That was actually out of my control, to be specific. Right, so Stoicism here has a beautiful example to give you in life. Suppose, say, you choose and you control how much effort to put in. But can you control the result? You can choose how much you study. But can you control what exam questions appear on your paper? You choose how to handle insults. But do you choose or do you control the one who's giving them? No. Stoicism teaches us that character, your actions, your choices, your personality, your attitude is what truly matters. Everything else, like your reputation, like the honors, the money you have, and definitely not popularity, is things which don't matter in life. And Stoicism has a major flaw, and that is such emotional rigidity can sometimes make you emotionally negligent. Let me give you the example of one I have seen to have the best Stoic temperament. Marcus Junius Brutus. He was a man who gained emotional strain upon himself. He, after losing his best friend and wife, still owed a duty to Rome. And he used a process called sublimation. Sublimation, a subtle art where you take your pent-up feelings like grief and anger and you channel them into productive ways, into productive matters of your life. And for Marcus Brutus, that was his responsibility and duty which he owed to Rome, a Roma. And my friends, let me tell you this, almost all Stoic people have realized one thing in their life. If you attach your emotional stability to something out of your control, you are going to end up disturbed. You will end up with disturbance, not great enough for you. You will end up with a disturbance that you are self-critical. And hence, people, you will start to go for and start looking for something even more stable, where you can actually gain a value which you can align with such Stoic order. And that is what leads us knocking at the door of existentialism. It has a simple claim, but a heavy one. Existence precedes essence. Existence comes before essence. You are not born with an inherent or inherited mind. You are not born with a fixed identity. We exist, and then our choices shape us. Best associated with Jean-Paul Sartre, this tells us that we are radically free. Even when we say that, oh my God, I had no choice, I had to do this, you usually did. Choices, whether you choose to become better or not. Choices, whether you either cheat or stay honest. Choices, whether you either speak up or stay silent. Choices which exist beyond the manufacture who you are. And first we're going to say existentialism talks about being free. That all choices you make are under your accord. Your accord. And this, my friends, to many leads to an angst. An angst, an anxiety. An anxiety that, oh my God, I have now perceived the depth of my choices. And if I'm the true one to describe who I am and no one else is responsible, I might, mess up after some time. I might F up. And that is a kind of thing which does happen to us. It happens to many of us, even when you're writing a paper. You start to scribble, you start to make lines in circuitry. Trust me, if you see my handwriting, it's going to look like an elephant's. And such things do happen. But this also, my friends, leads to something called bad faith. Bad faith, that you pretend to be just like this, or a personality that really doesn't exist, just so you have some of that responsibility lifted up from you. Such a thing, my friends, I tell you, it decreases your ingenuity, it decreases your genuineness, and hence it decreases your authenticity. Authenticity to own your own choices. But there is a simple problem. What happens when, even after you have decided your meanings, the universe, the cosmos, the indifferent cosmos stays silent? Absolutely silent, says nothing to you. I honestly just label that as absurd. I mean, come on. I've done so much in my life, you better be responding to me, right? I must find some meaning and some type of approval. But my friends, I call this absurd because this leads us to a philosophy majorly best explained by Albert Camus, absurdism. Absurdism is something which is best explained by a tale, literally, the Greek tale of Sisyphus, where even though humans seek meaning, the universe doesn't give any, and that leads to a clash. You see, there was once a man named Sisyphus. He was a great man, he was clever and rebellious. He cheated the gods, betrayed them, cheated death itself, outwitted fate. And his punishment was severe. A punishment he was to carry for all of eternity. A punishment that he was to roll a boulder up a mountain. And as soon as the boulder reached the summit, it would roll back down. This, my friends, is a punishment which is absolutely futile. The efforts lead to something which will just undo itself. It's like writing your essay, and whenever you go to save it, you just press don't save instead of save, and you keep doing this for all of eternity. You know how frustrating that is, right? And this will feel, and this is a task without completion. It has no meaning, and that was his punishment. But the most important moment for my man Sisyphus here is that he, whenever he saw that boulder roll back down the mountain, he had a smile on his face. He was smiling. He was smiling because he knew that even though he has pushed that boulder, he knows greatly that he scorns the gods each time he does it. He scorns them, that even though they have given him a task without meaning, that task itself is a form of dignity. Dignity. Because there is completion. You can live your life fully even though you don't have any approval. And that leads to the most imminent question. The most imminent question. Will you just accept? Will you just copy whatever philosophy your surroundings give you? Whatever your parents follow, whatever your friends follow? Or will you think, deliberate, and choose how you want to live? Think, choose, become.